Okay, so this is our presentation on website accessibility and the redesign of the Songs of Insects website. Okay, so why accessibility matters for this website. So it's an educational science site that teachers and students use, so it's important that everyone is able to use it. Many users rely on multimodal information like audio, visual, and text, which is important. So if these websites don't have that, these people can't access them. So, without accessibility, the songs are only accessible to hearing users, which isn't fair to everybody, and improving accessibility broadens who is able to learn from the site. So, the overview of the changes made, we used the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines to improve the website. We updated the color contrast across the text areas, added alternative text to the insect images to make it more descriptive. We added more header elements, improved the navigation bar with the hover and focus indicators where you highlight it, added missing labels, updated page title, and enhanced the navigation tab interaction so it's easier to see for keyboard navigation. So the importance of color and typography. So when you look at a website, basically what you see is the color and the typography. So it helps users with low vision or color blindness, allows text to remain readable in brighter dim lighting, supports users on older screens or mobile devices, and it's tied to the WCAG 1.43 and 1.46 guidelines. So these are the color contrast improvements from WCAG guideline 1.4.3. So the issues we found in the original site was there was a low contrast green text on the background that was kind of hard to read, and then there was also a hard to read sidebar labels where it says like the different types of insects and stuff. And so what we did to fix it, if you look at the pictures, is change the color of the blue text to a more like teal color and then change the red to like a darker red, almost brown color, so it's easier to see on the background. And the impact of this is that it is able to improve the readability for low vision users. Um, yes. Okay. Alternative text for images, which is WCAG guideline 1.1.1. So the issues that we found in the original site were that the sidebar insect images had alternative text that wasn't very meaningful and it was like not super descriptive. And so if you were using a screen reader, it wouldn't tell you about like a lot about what the picture was. And so the fix we added was to add more descriptive alt text for JPEG images. So if you look at the bottom of the pictures, the original just said insect musicians. Not very descriptive. You don't really know what that's talking about. So we updated it to be more descriptive. So now it says an immature meadow katydid, which should have included the picture in there, but it describes what the picture is, which so it's more descriptive, gives the user more of a taste of what the picture is instead of just saying it's an insect. The impact of this is that screen readers have the ability to interpret the content and it improves access for blind users.
Some few more ways that we did improve the website. As we improved the header, I added a focus to the header and the rest of the site that goes through the search bar. And I also changed the tabs. So when you keyboard nav through them, it turns yellow. Before it would just be where you mouse over them, it would turn yellow. So now it's more visible using a focus and the yellow. And these are in accordance with the guidelines 2.4.10, which is for section headings, which this is in the heading. Consistent navigation, and because this is the section heading, and you navigate through the heading, which is the same throughout the entire website, that's why we have 3.2.3. And since I added a focus, 2.4.7. One thing I am proud of that I am glad I did get to add was the skip to main content button, because ever since I learned about it, at the beginning of this class, I did feel like it was pretty helpful to be able to just bypass certain blocks of content or tops of a page, just so you wouldn't have to keep going through the same tabs over and over again if you were on a different page with the same heading, for example. And when you click on the skip to main content button, it takes you to the first paragraph of that page. And the home page is the introduction paragraph. One of my favorite ways to check accessibility is Wave, because it's so easy. It gives pretty much everything you need, at least the top level of what you need. It tells you which images don't have alt text. It tells you which forms aren't labeled, and it also tells you the contrast in the heading structure, which was pretty helpful. Another tool I used was the color contrast checker, which does a more specific job than Wave with color contrast. It gives you the different combinations of color contrasts on the page, gives you the background and the text combination, and the color ratio to see if it fits or not into the guidelines. Another thing I used was the Axe Devs tools. Um, when you inspect a website, you go over to the Axe Devs tools. It was really helpful in trying to understand the HTML structure, and I used it the most when I was redoing the 2 pages. So the tools we used for improvement and testing the websites, I used VoiceOver, which I had not really used much before, if at all, before this website. And I really have learned a lot how to use it, how to turn it on at using keyboard whenever I want. And I have sort of been using keyboard nav for a while, but this website, it was okay beforehand. There was a few different parts where there was no focus, or it wouldn't allow you to use keyboard nav to get to the link or page. You could only click it. And we also used accessibility audit, which confirmed the increases after we did edit and update the new HTML pages. Something that we would like to do in the future is we would like to add some future design enhancements. The current heading hierarchy is actually not too bad, but there are definitely some noticeable spots on the website where it should be heading 2 or heading 3, but are still just P. I would like to use more high quality SVGs. A few of them are kind of low quality, hard to understand and know exactly what you're looking at, especially with insects that are so similar basically anyway. And another thing I would really like to do personally is we would like to add a dark mode compatibility. I'm one of those people that uses dark mode on everything because I feel like it helps me see the screen better, helps me get to sleep a little easier when it's not as bright. And that would also be helpful for people who are sensitive to bright light and not just likes the aesthetic. Thankfully, now that we've done with the redesign, it now follows a lot of the WCAG principles, better contrast in alt text, better keyboard operability, makes a more concise, clear title. It does implement assistive technology better, and it is also better for low vision screen reader and keyboard users.